I'll wait on to see if is there anyone else trying to get in at the moment?
No.
We're a bit short on numbers. Hello, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, Pat. I've been looking at or trying to look at the applications to see if there's any last-minute documents, and where Suffolk Planning Portal is down at the moment, you can't access any of the documents. So,
All right. Councillor Burns.
I downloaded them to my website this afternoon, if it's any use to you, Tony.
Oh,
yeah. Have you got the link, or could you put the link in chat or something like that, John?
Yeah, we'll do.
So,
Find it first.
Is there a particular one that you want to see, Councillor Brown?
all it was I'd just like to check that there's not been any late documents put on there. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. Yeah, that's why I always leave mine to sort of the Sunday before I look, for that reason, really.
Councillor Davison and Councillor Smith are just joining.
Lovely. Right, I'm going to start because it's 4 minutes past 7 now. Right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Working Party. Item 1, which I'm going to say to note that this working party has no delegated authority and may only make recommendations to full council. Urgent actions may be taken under delegated authority given to the clerk and the chair. Item 2, apologies for absence. Alicia?
We have apologies from Councillor Jason Crooks and Vicky Phillips.
Okay. Thank you. Any other apologies from anyone? No?
None that I've received.
Right, okay, thank you. Item 3, sorry. Declarations of pecuniary interest and requests for dispensation. Anyone? No. Item 4, minutes of the previous meetings. I propose Councillor Dave Smith and Councillor Liz Smith.
Yeah, sorry, Chair, you missed me from the last item.
Yeah, and me.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I forgot what item was on the agenda, but we know Julie Stroud, obviously, who's the applicant on one of the. In
that case,
yeah,
I know Julie Strauss as well.
Yeah, so there's three of us that know Julie fairly well.
She used to be a town councillor as well. Councillor Burns?
No, I was just pointing out it's item 4 on the agenda.
Item 3, wasn't it? Pecuniary interest.
Pecuniary interest is item 3.
Sorry, item 4. Sorry, item 4 of the planning application. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've all got a pecuniary interest.
Yeah, because Alicia, that's item interest. Yeah. Alicia, that's item 4 that we're declaring a pecuniary interest.
Yep, I've noted that. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Right, item 4, the agenda.
Sorry, Chair, should that not be a non-pecuniary interest?
Yeah, it's non-pecuniary.
Yeah,
it's not financially related.
Yeah, it's not financial. Definitely not. No. It's non-pecuniary interest. Sorry about that. Okay, item 4, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. May I propose and a seconder for me to sign them minutes proposed from Councillor Liz Smith and Councillor Brown. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Page. Oh. There's no page numbers on them, I'm afraid. So, first page. Alicia, can you, or Councillor Burns, can you get the page of the minutes up, please? On the screen.
Hang on a moment. I think this is it. Hopefully, can you see that?
Yes, thank you. Right, the first page.
I'm just widening it out a bit. 248, that is.
Okay. Oh, that's got page numbers on. My one hasn't. Right. Thank you. 248, 249 now, please.
I'll just slowly bring this up.
Yeah. I presumed everyone's read this, but just in case that, you know, we've got any queries on it. Because there's a lot of typing, a lot of words. Okay.
Yeah.
250. Yep. 260.
51.
Sorry, 251. I was just guessing there, and I didn't see the page number.
Happy.
Thank you. 252. 253. 254.
Well, that's the rest of it. That's just the agenda items.
Yeah. 255. Okay. Thank you very much. Back to the agenda, which is, that was matters arising. That was the matters arising at item 5 from them. Item 6, which is for members of the public to speak on matters of other than the applications before the working party. No. Item 7. This is to consider planning applications to West Suffolk Council. I will invite members of the public who wish to address the working party in relation to a planning application to speak ahead of working party, considering each application in turn. Can I ask the working party, seeing as we got, let's get my notes up. As soon as we've got Martin here on item 7, speaking on item 7, can I have your permission to bring item 7 forward? Yeah, okay. Right, okay. Right, item 7, which is DC 212255 DE1, demolition of one dwelling, 27 Clements Lane. Martin, do you want to speak first on this, as we said on the agenda?
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much for allowing me to discuss this with you this evening. I confess I don't really understand how we've got to this point with this particular dwelling, given that it was raised with the Development Control Committee in April, and it was refused on the basis of it was contrary to DM16, a loss of a local heritage asset. And within that sort of conversation, there was notes about the cost of renovation is not considered compelling, which appears to be the reason for the demolition required to take place. there is no obvious public benefit arising from the proposal to otherwise counter the harm of the loss of the heritage asset. So nothing, as far as I can see, has actually changed since that meeting in April, save for the fact it's now got a new owner. The property has, to all intents and purposes, been willfully neglected over the last sort of 3 years. And that seems to be, you know, the aim, to actually reduce its value to a point it could be demolished. And I don't really understand, as I say, how we've actually got to this point again, given that it's already been refused. Possibly secondary is the fact that the demolition notice has actually not been posted on Old Clements Lane, but on Clements Lane, away from the main property itself. There's been no communication at all with residents of Old Clements Lane who, you know, it would materially affect. And that means that there's been limited opportunity to either offer an opinion or object. And I was rather hoping that, you know, we could rely on some help from this committee to prevent it from happening.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments? Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I would like to totally support Mr. Espin's comments. This committee has previously gone against planning application and the demolition of this property. It is a non-designated heritage asset to Haverhill. The building's been left for a long time. I'm sure that it would have been, when it was first vacated, a lot cheaper to do something with it. But yeah, on the whole, I totally support Mr. Espin's comments. I think we should as a town council as well.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Councillor Liz Smith?
I agree with Councillor Brown and Martin. Is it Martin? Sorry. Yes, it is an asset to the town, or it was an asset to the town. I saw it when it was up for sale, and it's in very poor condition from the looks of things. And as you say, it's been neglected for a while. But you know, if someone can take it on and redevelop it, not redevelop the site, but to you know, bring the house back to its previous glory, then I think that's the best option for this. We don't want to lose any more heritage sites. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Greeley?
I haven't got. I'm your ward member, by the way, Martin. I haven't got a lot of information at the moment. I've emailed the case officer. I think it's Gary Hancock's. I took this to delegation last time and ensured it went to full committee. It just feels like the new owner is trying to get around the planning refusal. I'm not very confident we're actually going to have much luck with this, to be honest. But I will give it a good shot myself. But there's not a lot you can comment on.
Only that it's it was an asset, wasn't it? That it got through. You know, the thing is, it is still up to West Suffolk Council, isn't it? At the end of the day, whether they fight this or not. But obviously, we can still give our opinions as a town council. Councillor Smith, Dave Smith. Dave Smith, yeah.
Yeah, the reasons we objected to it and the reasons it was refused hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is they're just knocking it down and haven't got plans to build anything in place of it. So I really can't see why they would come to any different conclusion.
Martin, I think you want to come back on that point. Is that true?
If I may, it just simply from the actual demolition application, it says that actually they're planning on building 3 properties on the same site, which frankly is exactly the same proposal was put to the Planning and Development Committee back in April and was refused as a gross overdevelopment of the site. So it frankly, I'm suspicious of the motives behind separating the two things out. And I'm suspicious that it's about just once it's gone, there's nothing you can do about it, and then the floodgates are open to just putting 3 properties there. And then the simple issue remains is that there's very limited access to Old Clements Lane. There's no parking. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to end up with substantially more vehicles parked on the main highway, which is where they are at the moment, because there's nowhere else to go.
Councillor Burns?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, we've got to remember this also went to appeal as well, and it was rejected. And we, Councillor Smith and I think it was around, had a briefing on this particular site. And very much as Mr. Espin says, it was down to not only the heritage list, but also the access to the site. You know, you've got to think about construction vehicles, all this sort of stuff. And he's quite right about all the parking that's on Clements Lane itself, ignoring Old Clements Lane, but Clements Lane, you know, is becoming quite bad for buses to actually get there because of the number of vehicles that are parking very close to the traffic island at the whatever way that is, Western End, is it? Something like that. Yeah. So, and he's quite right about obviously the application. It's very unusual to have a demolition without a similar application for reconstruction as well. And I'm sure this is some means of getting around some sort of thing. So it has to be, you know, in my view, I don't think anything at all has changed at all between what the inspector said in his report and what is being tried on now. So it would be, you know, even if it was refused again and they tried to take it to appeal, I would like to think, you know, if it's the same inspector, they do change their views, but I would like to think it wouldn't go that route. But I think, you know, from a town council point of view, as already been said, is all the objections probably that were said first time round apply now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. My thinking of it is because it's a different owner, he's going to try it on, and obviously he might, you know, it might get refused at West Suffolk, and then he might go to appeal, and he's hoping that they win the appeal. Why? I suppose it just shows you really it's more financial way of doing that for him if he wins. But he's still going to, you know, if he loses, he's financially worse off, isn't he? So he's still got to pay for these sort of things. It seems strange. It's, you know, they will try this on, and there's not much we can do about it, to be honest. We can't stop him trying it on. That's what I mean. So it's just hopefully that, you know, Mr. Martin will sort of do the same to West Suffolk Council. If it goes to West Suffolk Council, I don't know, or will it go to delegated power? Will it go to delegated power this, or do we have to, Councillor Burns?
Well, Councillor Lucarini will have to call it in, which I'm probably sure he will do. Then it has to go to delegated panel, and then the delegation panel cannot decide on the application if the ward member rejects it. The ward member has the right to force it through to development control. But you don't know what the delegation panel will say either. And it always depends on the officer's report as well. I don't know whether the planning officer is the same one as first time round. I can't remember. But yeah, it'd be interesting because certain officers have different views of different things. Let me just put it that way. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Councillor Lucarini, do you want to say anything on this? Lastly, Mr. Epstein.
I've asked for it to go to delegation.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Good.
So.
Right. Okay. Oh, well, that's good. Right. So I'll need a proposer, really. Yep, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I'd like to propose that we object strongly to the application for the same reasons that we objected strongly on the previous occasion. Obviously incorporating the comments made by Mr. Espin as well, to make sure we encapsulate them in our objection.
Yeah, I'm just reading it here, and we did say about the parking and too narrow and the character policy DM2. Yes, we did mention all that. So,
but the main thing is to emphasise the non-designated heritage asset because it's a demolition proposal.
Yeah, that's the important part. Yeah. Okay. Right, can I have a seconder for that objection? Councillor Davison? Second it. Right, all those in favour, please show of rejecting. Yeah, that's everyone. Right, thank you very much. Thank you, Martin. If you want to stay, you can, but it's entirely up to you, or leave. You know, that, as I say, even though I brought you forward, you can stay if you want, but as I say, it's
no, I'll leave. I'm very grateful for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening, and hope we can actually do something positive with it by preventing it.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you can get as many people to, you know, sign or object to it or whatever, you know, to write to the council.
Yeah.
And that will help a lot, really, if you can get as many people as you possibly can.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
we started talking about those kind of things, but I think it all came as a bit of a shock, you know, as I say, because there was no formal communication as there was previously for the previous development. The council did actually write to everybody. This was just simply a notice on the lamppost, which seemed a little bit underhand, shall we say?
Yeah, that's so unfair. Do you think we should write a separate note to the officers about that? Working party or what? What do you think? Should we write something separate on that? Because that's a bit unfair, isn't it? Not doing the job that they should be doing. Councillor Brown?
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah.
Councillor Dave Smith?
I seem to recollect that under the COVID powers, they changed the way of operating. And I don't think they have to write to everybody now. I think that was, I don't know if Councillor Burns can remember anything about that at all. Yeah, but I think Mr. Aspin is talking about not putting it in the actual area, which is Clements Lane. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there is an obligation now to do that. I think that's what I seem to remember off the top of my head. Sorry if I've got that wrong.
Right, okay. Councillor Burns?
Yeah, I think it's not quite that. They under the COVID, they stopped putting the public notices on lampposts or wherever they put it. That has resumed, but in terms of the notification of neighbours, they do have a criteria about whether or not a particular notice has to go to a particular address. And I would have said that, Old Clement Lane residents at very least should be included in that. But I vaguely remember last time they never asked the people on the other side of the road, who's on the corner there, on the corner of Greenfields and Clements Lane. And that was a problem as well, because obviously they directly overlooked the site. I don't mean on the corner of Greenfields, you know what I mean, opposite.
Okay, Councillor Dave Smith and then Councillor Kearney.
Yeah, I think the word is they notify adjacent properties, and that's about it really. So that could meet the next door and nobody else.
Yeah, but that, Martin, yeah?
We are
sorry, hold on. Sorry, Martin. Councillor Kearney first and then you. Councillor Kearney?
Yeah, one for John and Dave. Does it make any difference that this is an application for prior approval rather than a full planning application? Because it hasn't gone out to consultation, I don't think, in the same way by the looks of things.
If I could just come back, I raised this this particular application because it wasn't going to go on the agenda. And that's why it's now on the agenda, because it came through the planning portal. You're quite right about that. I don't know about the notification, but there's a legal responsibility and there's a moral responsibility. And I've had several times I've had to talk to planning about that moral responsibility of not telling somebody who is actually materially affected by anything that happens. And that's what I keep saying to them, it's the material effect on, you know, if they suddenly knock that down, you'd have Arctics, HGVs, whatever, trying to get up Old Clements Lane to that site. And is that, you know, that's a material objection because it's the amenity of the residents that will be affected.
That's why I said earlier about whether I'm not sure I can actually comment, because I've got a feeling I had one of these before and I submitted comments and got told that I can't really have a say and I can't call it in. Obviously, I've tried again. I'll see what happens, but because it's not actually a full planning application.
Under the prior rules, sorry to interrupt again, under the prior rules, there are certain criteria, including the amenity of nearby premises, and that includes residents as well. So, you know, the officers should be taking that into account anyway, but it's absolutely no harm at all in making sure everybody you can think of commented on it with material objections. And I think Martin's stuff that's already on the portal are all very valid comments about it. And Colin may have a view. I notice he's up. I don't know.
Colin?
I think really in terms of the requirement to let neighbours know on a full planning application, it is literally adjacent neighbours, and sometimes the planners do get that wrong. But they don't have any requirement to go out further. This kind of, in the old days, it used to be kind of like a radius around a particular area, people would be included, but that's not the case now. But I do agree with Councillor Lucarini that as it's prior approval, then it's quite possible that reduces the requirement to consult. It's not acceptable, but obviously the planners are only required to do what they're lawfully required to do.
So are you saying then that we can't sort of write a letter on as far as that it should be in Old Clements Lane?
I think you can always make the point. Obviously, it's spilt milk, but you can always make the point that you felt people were missed out, and it does no harm, I guess. But they may just argue that there wasn't a requirement to do it in the first place. But there's no harm in raising the fact that you weren't happy.
Sorry, Martin. I just wanted to get the councillor's view before I come to you.
No, absolutely fine. And the point I just wanted to make is that we are talking about a property on Old Clements Lane, and we are residents of Old Clements Lane. We are number 26, if you like, so we are adjacent to the property. And if you like, that's the point I'm making, is that we've had no formal communications with regard to whether this is a pre-approved or whatever way you look at it. There has been no formal sort of communication from the council to the people that it would materially affect actually on the lane. And the demolition notice has not been placed on Old Clements Lane, but it's actually on the top of the hill on Clements Lane.
Very good point. Okay, can I have a proposal then that we send a letter to the planning officers? Councillor Liz Smith proposed. Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Stinchcombe. All those in favour, please show. Yep, it's everyone. Right. Thank you. Thank you again, Martin, for all what you're doing and what you've done and what you said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time this evening, people. It's very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, application 1, which is DC 21-0972 TPO 519 open bracket 2010, close bracket. Tree preservation order, 1 sycamore on plan within W1 on order, fell. 22 Rovers Way. Any comments from anyone? Councillor Burns?
Only to say that Matt Vernon's report from West Suffolk was very detailed. He obviously doesn't particularly like the application, but he understands why. But I think it really emphasises the fact we've had several applications over the last 3 or 4 years of trees being wanted to cut down or pruned. And it's all down to the developers, management company not doing their job. And I think that ought to be, you know, I can't say what you want to do, but I think he's towards the end of his comments were very valid about making sure that those management companies actually, you know, step up to the mark, because the residents are suffering from this as well. Remember, these trees were there way before the houses were ever built. So that was only my view on that.
Yeah, I entirely agree that the way they've cut it, it's completely ruined it, you know. So it's given the planning, the tree officer no choice really. That's why he's so annoyed. Councillor Dave Smith?
Yeah, I was just going to basically back up what Councillor Burns has just said there. It seems that the tree has been butchered, whereas we don't really want any trees cut down, but this one is probably beyond help really. And I think it's interesting to note that the officer also recommends that they plant a tree in place of it. And I think that's something we also need to pick up on. So replace one for one. It's not like for like, so I think he's suggesting a different species. But so I would just like to propose that we neutral, I suppose, but make a note of the planning officer's, the arboriculturalist's notes report. Thank you. Sorry, getting mumbled there. Yeah.
And replacement not like for like, but replacement of a tree.
Yeah. The recommendation.
Recommendation, right, okay. Any other comments at all? Do I have a seconder for Councillor Smith's? I saw Councillor Davison just before Councillor Smith seconded it. Right, okay. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Application 2, which is DC 21 2017 HH, small a, 2-storey side and rear extension. Small b, first floor terrace. Small c, conversion of loft to habitable space. And this is 27 Hazel Close. Councillor Brown?
Yeah, this is the previous application that has been causing, if you previously remember at other meetings, neighbours have been complaining around that there's no conditions and they've been working very late, etc., etc. This is a further application on that site. Whatever we feel about the application itself, which I've not got no real problem with personally, but I would like to make sure that we try and suggest some conditions, i.e. no noisy work after 7 PM of an evening, and no burning building materials on site, which has been allegedly been going on. The fire brigade was up there the other week, where there was a fire of old building materials that got a little bit out of hand. So I'd like to stick a couple of conditions on there, or propose that we stick a couple of conditions on there if you can.
Okay. Before I come to Councillor Dave Smith, was it? Yeah. Was it? No? Did you put your hand up? No? Yeah? Oh, right. Before I come to Councillor Dave Smith, I noticed that the condition that is set by the West Suffolk planning committee, or officers, I should say. They said they've got to have a bike storage. I haven't seen that on this application. I don't know if I can get help from others on that. Right, Councillor Dave-Smith.
Well, I went up there this afternoon to just have a little look, and there was a van parking. I think it was working on the lights, and I couldn't get up there to see. So it just shows you how narrow the road is. So, and I think they're looking to convert the loft as well, which is another bedroom, more cars, more parking space required. There's no room for it. There's just no room.
Plus, is that one being built beside it? Because did that go through the 2-bedroom one next to it? So there'd be 6 bedrooms. Is that still going on? Is that?
That's a different.
There was a 2-bedroom one next to it they was going to build with it.
I don't know, but we're looking at this one, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But that's, I'm just saying the amount of cars that's going to be there.
I just think it's an overdevelopment.
Yeah, but that's all gone through, Councillor Smith.
This particular one, they're adding to the roof space. They're building into the loft. They're converting the loft as well now.
Yeah,
so that's additional. Right. That's more.
Right, so you're saying the loft is overdevelopment then?
Well, yeah.
Right. Okay. Councillor Burns.
I had a look at this afternoon, and I was actually astounded. You don't even know how many bedrooms there's going to be in this place. I got a horrible feeling it may end up as an HMO. The ground floor, the plans and elevations on the ground floor, and I didn't go back to the previous application, but I noticed, for example, the lounge, in theory, and dining room area have still got a partition between the two, which makes me wonder if that's what they're going to be making. As you rightly say, as Councillor Smith said, the parking up there is terrible. This could end up, I think, being 5 bedrooms potentially. I mean, there is already 4. There is already 3 by the looks of things, plus the one they want to put in the roof space now. And apart from the stuff that Councillor Brown mentioned, which, where is our enforcement team? Once again, not available. Why are they not clamping down on this? On all the aspects of this build, based on the particularly the comments from 26 Hazel Close next door. All very valid points there. So I think, in terms of that, I'd be questioning how many bedrooms this place is going to have, because there's certainly not enough parking spaces as far as I can tell. Thank you.
Yeah, on the original ones, DC 201598 HH, it did say 3 bedrooms, plus there was a 2-bedroom one built as well, was part of the side extension on the original one. Another thing I'd like to raise as well, they're applying for a terrace as well. I don't know if anyone knows, but that's going at the back, isn't it? And that'd be overlooking number 5, Templars Court at the back, which is not going to be very good for them people living there. And I think they're bungalows at the back, and they're elderly people. So, they've mostly got no computer, so they've got no idea, what's going on there, most probably. And obviously, they wouldn't have had any letters for planning applications either. So, personally, I object to the terrace as well, really, because of the overlook. Right, anyone else want to comment? No? Okay. Can I propose for then? Well, let me propose. Councillor Brown, you're muted. Sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, I was going to support you if you're objecting.
I'm objecting for the terrace as as well as the, I think Councillor Smith mentioned the extra bedroom going in the roof space as well, which is over development. We can't raise parking because that's already been dropped by highways. So as I say, we could mention them two things. Okay, I propose that. Can I have a second for that, please? No objection, Councillor Brown?
Yeah, could we also mention the conditions that I talked around, if we can?
Yeah, can you repeat that just in case, Alicia?
No burning of building materials on site, and no work before 8 AM or after 7 PM of an evening that creates noise.
Right, yeah, I forgot, sorry about that. Okay, I propose that as well. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Brown? Okay. Right, all those in favour, please show. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Application 3, which is DC 21 1987 HH, drop curb to facilitate extension of neighbouring single driveway to a shared double driveway, 34 Recreation Road. Got any comments on this one, please? Councillor Dave Smith?
Sorry, me again. There's no measurements as to how wide this drop curb is going to be. At the moment, it's like the 4 paving slabs wide, or what they call it. You know, as I say, there's no dimensions on there to say how wide it's going to be. So it's not a problem if it's comes within the regulations, but then I suppose that's not our job to police. But I would like to see some dimensions on here to know actually how wide this drop curb is going to be.
Okay. Is there any other comments on this? Councillor Burns?
Only that it's unusual that it's actually got to this stage, because and I was trying to find, sorry, just trying to find the application itself, sorry, on my server, sorry, bear with me. I lost it here, 34 Recreation, that's what I'm looking for. As Councillor Smith says, there's no real thing, but normally County Council will not allow 2 adjacent properties to have 2 drop curbs if there is no divider between the 2 drop curbs. If you try and understand what I mean, even if it's a couple of feet, they happen because what happens is when the road is actually done, the contractors actually just say, "Oh, we'll just drop that down." But I was chatting to the County Council engineer in my road the other day, and there's a resident wanted exactly that, and they refused it because of the fact it wasn't thing. But I think the application, if I vaguely remember, said they wanted it to literally join up with the other one. I maybe I misread that or
Yeah, they to be a shared double driveway.
Yeah.
Councillor Dave Smith, thank you.
I did look at the Suffolk County website today just to sort of you know, refresh my memory on this. I'm thinking they can extend it to 2 properties as long as it's not more than 5.5 metres wide, which they equate to 6 lengths of paving, whatever they call it, drop curb paving. So it seemed to be that they would allow it as long as it's within 5 metres or something of a neighbouring one. But they can extend the 2 to have a joint one. But as I say, the problem is there's no dimensions on the application.
But didn't you mention there's 4 pavings on that, Councillor Smith?
4 is like a single property one, because they're like a yard wide each, yeah, aren't they? So 6 would be 5.5 metres roughly.
So it's within the parameters then of being okay.
Well, we don't know, do we? Because we haven't got any dimensions.
It seems these don't normally. Oh, I suppose they do. Yeah, because as I say, these normally ain't they normally done through delegated powers and done, you know, at Suffolk County Council, these sort of things. Does anyone know? Councillor Burns?
Obviously, this is a West Suffolk application. You would normally this would be applying to effectively. It gets very confusing because the county council make it so confusing for residents. My next door neighbour had exactly the same thing, and I had to intervene. That she was applying to West Suffolk, but then she kept getting messages from Suffolk County Council all the time. West Suffolk were just more interested in the what was actually on their driveway, you know, the material that's on the driveway. But it's Suffolk County Council who actually made the decision whether or not they like that drop curb, because it's on highways land, it's crossing highways land.
Yeah.
They have to adopt it afterwards as well. That's why you have to use, there's only a certain number of contractors who cost an arm and a leg to do the work. But you know, that's in this case, you know, you're only commenting on the application, not whether county council are going to object to it or
not. No. Okay. Thank you. Right. So you proposing neutral with the comments that about the size, or what are you saying, Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I'd probably say neutral, but I would like some would have liked some more information on the actual dimensions of the curve, the drop curve. So in theory, and I'm not got no objections.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Stitchcombe.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say that the site plan is more like a location.
Yeah, you're. I'm afraid you're.
Sorry, I had my switch muted. Yeah, the site plan looks more like a location plan. It isn't really a plan of the site of the front of the houses, is it? So, you know, we're working on a sort of thumbnail sketch, almost literally. So, you know, they can't even draw, they can't even put dimensions on there. It's just, it's an inadequate site plan, I think, is really the way I'd like to frame the comment.
Yeah. Okay. So we're neutral with them comments on. Yeah. Is that proposal, Councillor Smith? Yeah. Right. Can I have a second to that, please, Councillor Stitchcombe? All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Application 4, single, which is DC 21 2052 HH, small a, single story rear extension following demolition of existing conservatory. This is 123 Withersfield Road. Any comments on this at all? No? Can I propose for neutral, please? Councillor Stitchcombe, seconded by Councillor Davison. All those in favour, please show. All right, everyone, thank you very much. Application 5, DC 21 2072 HH, small a, install 2 French doors to rear elevation following removal of 2 windows. Small b, 3 bay cart lodge. This is Chapel Farm, Cottage and Suckling Lane. Little Ratting. No, Little Ratting. When is this going to go through that this is part of Haverhill and not Little Ratting? Or is it still going to be named Little Ratting? Am I getting mixed up? Councillor Burns?
it's a postal address. It's already in Haverhill Town Council area.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Thank you. Right. Any comments on this one? Councillor Dave Smith?
These 2 applications next to are the same property. One is a listed building application, and the next one is the actual application for the works itself. So are we doing this the right way around, or can we do them together? Because they won't be able to, unless we, unless it's agreed that they can alter their listed building, then the work's not going to take place anyway, are they?
Has anyone got any objection doing them together?
Yeah, I do.
Councillor
I think that's confusing. I think we should literally do them as two separate things. The first one is, do we like what they're proposing? Do we like the appearance of what they're proposing? And is it overdevelopment, all that kind of thing? The listed building is a separate issue, isn't it?
So we take the building. So we take the windows first, shall we? And then the cart lodge after.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant the planning consent has to be treated differently from the listed building consent. That's why they're two separate applications. I don't mind what order we take them in. If we fancy looking at number 6 before number 5, I'm happy with that. But we do have to consider them separately, I think.
Okay. So, well, the order on the application is application 5 and then application 6, isn't it? So application 5 is DC 21 2072 HH, and application 6 is 21 2073 LB. So which one should we do first? Have we got a? Well, I'll make a decision. We do application 5 first, which is DC 21 2072 HH. Okay. Right. Any comments on that at all? No.
I'd like to propose neutral on this.
Okay. Can I have a seconder for neutral, please? Councillor Brown? Seconded. All those in favour, please show. Okay. Right. That's everyone. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. That's the end of the applications. Back to the agenda now.
On the go, Chair.
Sorry?
The second one we haven't done.
Oh, yeah.
Because we separated them.
So, yes, because I've wrote them together. Right, item number 6, which is DC 21 2073 LB. Can I any comments on this one at all? Councillor Stitchcombe and then Councillor Smith.
I haven't been up to the site to have a look, but I was a bit frustrated that the quality of the design statement I thought was rather poor. The photos in there, I went to zoom in thinking I would be able to look at the flints or the whatever, and it's all pixelated out. So it just seemed a very substandard. If you're going to show photographs, can we please see the photographs? And I'd see that the conservation officer had asked for very specific upgrades, or no, they hadn't asked for, they had suggested that the application would stand a better chance if they put a bit of detailing into the doors, that rather than just apparently buying doors off the shelf, as it were, out of the builder's merchant. And I think the conservation officer had recommended cross-sectional drawings as well as plan drawings, that and none of that has been provided. So I just felt we don't have, I don't know, I just felt we don't really have quite enough understanding and detail about the listed building aspects of this to really comment. I don't feel qualified to comment on it because I just don't have enough information. Thank you.
Councillor Smith?
Probably contradicting what we said in the last application, but I think the objection from conservation officer seemed to be the fact that they was looking to put French windows in somewhere which didn't really look right. It wasn't in keeping with the style of the building. So whether or not it'll go through through their offices, I don't know. But again, we're not experts on that, are we?
Right, any more comments at all? Thank you. No? Can I have a, are you proposing objection to this? Or is it neutral? Can I propose it for neutral then? Councillor Sidgcombe?
I'll propose neutral, sort of under protest. I really still, you know, as I said before, I don't feel we've got quite enough suitable information to judge this on, but for lack of any better information, I think it's neutral.
Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I'd like to second that, but could we say that we support the officers,
Conservation
officers' comments?
Yeah.
Good point. You got that, Alicia? Yeah, she's put thumbs up. Okay. Right, all those in favour, please show. We did get a second, didn't we, Councillor Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Right, thank you. Right, back to the agenda then, this time. Oh, item 8. I've seemed to have lost it, but don't know why.
Matters to report.
Yeah, item 8, matters to report. Yeah, I've lost my agenda for some reason. Ah, I found it. Yeah, matters to report to enable members to exchange any urgent planning matters. Councillor Burns?
Okay, obviously you all know that the Dementia Village was approved, which is not in Haverhill, but it's obviously in what you said earlier on, Little Ratting. I spoke out against it for many reasons, that particularly over transport, the fact that statements were made regarding buses which are non-existent, and various others. Unfortunately, members of the committee decided that it was okay to build in the countryside, despite there being a 2,500 unit next door, which has actually got provision for care facilities in there, but that was apparently never even investigated. The officer's report was okay, but I did, before the meeting, tell them about all this, but it wasn't really investigated or anything. So, and we all know there were certain claims in early documents. Anyway, you know, it's done and dusted now. So we should just see how that goes. The other one is number 1 to 5, the High Street, which is the Argos building. The application to convert the downstairs to retail and flats was withdrawn last few days, but they've actually put another one in, which has again is prior approval. I can't actually see any exact, I haven't looked at every single drawing of everything, but I can't see any differences, and I don't know why they withdrew it and then put it back in again. I'm not certain, but just to let you know about that, if anyone wanted to comment on that. Again, as Councillor Lucarini said earlier on, it may be difficult to do that, but at least, you know, it should be noted. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Burns. Is there any sort of slight differences between the two? Do you know, Councillor Burns?
I've only briefly looked at them and I couldn't see anything, but it's very difficult because there's no dimensions on a lot of the documents. I know there were comments, I think, from this council about disabled access and that sort of thing, particularly as vulnerable people, but I haven't even checked. I can't tell without doing Councillor Stinchcombe's clever use of the ruler and you know, sliding scale type thing. I haven't had a chance to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to be careful with them sort of things, I suppose. I don't know why they don't put the dimensions on. It's crazy, really crazy. We need that. That happens in a lot of cases. Okay. Right. Anyone else? Matt's report? No. Thank you very much. The last I've seen as well with the LED lights, they've been in communication with me, the council in my particular road that I'd brought up. And I found 5 of the lights have not been done in my small area, not been changed. I thought it was 3, but I went round and another walk and it was 5. But they do say that they're not, the priority is not on where they're near sort of walkways, which I found that rather odd, especially because they was talking about the railway walk as well, which I find really odd. They're sort of prioritising the roads instead of the walkways, if you like. They've also been doing Aradine Road today as well, I noticed, and changing their light. So if sort of people got anything, you know, if they're sort of saying, oh, well, I don't like these lights, or yeah, they're great. Mind you, I find them fine personally, but you still might get complaints. Councillor Stitchcombe?
I reported to...
We can't hear you again for some reason.
Sorry, I'd ended the meeting prematurely. I reported which way round is it? A tree under the lamp on Chalkstone Way down towards Sturmer Road. I could sort of see someone standing looking at their phone under the lamppost, but there was no light on them. They were in the shade because they were under a tree under the lamp. So I thought, well, you know, that's a bit weird. You know, how do we get to the situation where we're paying for the electricity bill for an LED lamp, but no light is actually getting to the pavement? So there's a sort of slight security risk there. And there's certainly none getting on the road. Well, there was a patch on the far side of the road, but most of the road wasn't lit up by this lamp either. And I know winter's coming and all the trees, you know, leaves will fall off, but it does seem, you know, why are we allowing trees to obstruct lampposts? One of them needs, either the tree needs chopping down or, you know, severely pruning, or the lamppost needs moving, doesn't it, if we like the tree so much? And they say it doesn't meet our criteria.
Yeah, it's very strange. Right, thank you for that. Councillor Burns?
Yeah, just very, very quickly to add on, they replaced the ones in my road last week, and it's gone down from being quite bright, which is fine because we've had some burglaries recently, down to very dark. And when I spoke to them about it, they say, oh, in side roads, we don't put them as light as they can go. I said, well, you knock them off at 11:30 as it is, and not or whatever time it is, at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, they come on. I said it's not acceptable, because now what you've done is effectively made, you know, you may as well not put them on in many cases. The ones that are still on the old system are the one on the Haverhill buildings, because obviously they're not doing those, and they produce a good quality light. Yes, I know they might not be environmentally friendly and all this sort of stuff, but there has to be something in the rules that say you really should light. They quite happily light Chalkstone Way where there's nobody about, quite bright, but they don't seem to want to do the side one. So just keep an eye on it as they're getting around to your roads, whether they it ends up being a slightly dark environment. Thank you.
Yeah, I've had complaints in my road that it's dark, I must admit. Right, okay. Thank you for that. Right, item 9, which is date of next meeting, which is Tuesday, the 7th of December. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
for
Chair.
attending.